Assalamu alaikum, walaikum salam. May peace be upon you be peace.
Assalamu alaikum. You are now to the Shakil and Company on American Islamic Radio. I'm your host, Kevin Shakil, and today's exciting interview is sponsored by Derv Bars, Chicken and Grill, Tech Bites, Roman's Barbershop, Best Medical Care, Freedom Line Brokerage, Halal G's, Kebab G's, Issue Realtor, and Element Central. Today we have none other than the famous. For me, I think you're super famous because you're an amazing person. You rock. She's a staple in our community. Dr. Sara Siddiqui, Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Hey, Assalamu alaikum. How are you doing? Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming back. I think last time we had you was when the COVID was affecting kids with the MES.
The MIS-C, and then we were also talking about school starting and things like that. So yes, thank you for having me on again.
Thank you so much for joining. Listen, the reason we have Dr. Sara Siddiqui back is because we're Facebook friends. And I seen something she did the other day that I was like, I'm super jealous, but it's really important to get the information out there. Dr. Sara, you want to let people know what you did the other day?
Yes. So I didn't mean to post to make people jealous or it was more for information. And so I received through my work the Moderna COVID vaccine, and I received it on Wednesday. And I was just posting to kind of give people encouragement and just basically recognize the safety of it. And I wanted to promote that and just kind of tell people or talk about, through my Facebook post and through my posting that, to have confidence in the vaccine and that we are all confident in the vaccine.
But Dr. Sara, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I'm a part of so many WhatsApp groups, and I've read that, listen, the Moderna vaccine, the Pfizer vaccine has microchips inside of it, and now they're going to be tracking you.
So that's not correct. First, it's really important to get our information from an accurate source. So the WhatsApp groups, I applaud them for having such great communication, and it's a good idea to be, communicating with your family and friends. But as far as scientific evidence, you really want to go towards the source. You want to see if you are getting some information, where is that source from? What is that article quoting? What is that article, what's the journal? What is that information coming from? So that's really important. And yes, the things that sometimes I hear from my own family and friends is concerning, and it's not that accurate. So no, there's no microchip in the vaccine. It would be very difficult to do something like that. And it's not really tracking you. What thing is tracking you is probably your iPhone more than that. So they're already, that's why I try to tell people that you're already kind of being tracked maybe, but not through the vaccine. We don't know a lot of information that's kind of dispelled through WhatsApp or sometimes some groups. We don't want to believe everything, but we do want to believe the science. And one of the reasons why I stepped forward and kind of, when they asked us, actually at NYU, just to explain some of the process, they did give us a choice. It's not that we were required to take it or that, we were forced to. They did say, okay, when you get the email, you have the option to say yes or no. But a lot of us are saying yes. A lot of us are getting the vaccine whenever we get offered. And I think that that's really important to see that. And it's important to also increase the amount of people that are getting it to see, to see a little bit more what the side effects could be, right? So that's another reason why I stepped up.
Well, that's another thing I wanted to mention. You actually brought it up, side effects, right? Did you receive any coming? We were watching the news the other day with the hospital in Chicago, and the nurse who received it, she seemed like she was going to pass out. I think she passed out, right? What are the side effects that come with the vaccine, and have you experienced any of those?
So some of the most common side effects, and as with any vaccination, what the vaccine is meant to do is to inspire your immune system to build antibodies. So whenever you get a vaccine, you are going to get some fever, some aches and pains, some pain at the injection site, possibly. So all those things are very common because it's your immune system getting inspired. So whenever you have that, whenever your immune system starts getting activated, you develop a fever because your body is trying to fight off the infection, right? So we want to have a little bit of a response. You want to have some of those side effects happen, the more common ones, because that tells you that your immune system is actively working and actively making the antibodies against what it's supposed to, what what you're getting the injection for. So for myself, I did get a little bit of arm pain. So I got the vaccine on Wednesday. Wednesday night, maybe I got some pain on the injection site. They said that we can take some Motrin or Tylenol for that, but I didn't want to take any of that because I really wanted the full impact. I wanted my immune system to really make the maximum amount of antibodies and really provide the maximum protection. So I decided not to take any anti-inflammatory agents. And today is, let's see, today's Saturday. So it's been Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 3 days. And now I'm feeling perfectly fine. I did have some arm pain maybe for 2 days. And I did get maybe a little bit of body aches and pains, not anything to be concerned about. I actually worked the next day on Thursday and I was feeling fine. So that's the majority of the side effects, but go ahead.
To all our viewers right now, I'm going to be inputting a picture right here, just letting you guys know, of Dr. Sara actually getting the vaccine. And the thing that stood out to me, right, the most is Dr. Sara is like Superwoman. She went in her Superwoman shirt and got the vaccine, which is remarkable.
So, well, yeah, I mean, I really wanted to make sure that, you know, that it was a momentous occasion for me anyway. I mean, I really was proud to be able to get it. I was proud that I was, you know, offered it, and I wanted to just, you know, inspire people. And, you know, it's fun to wear those shirts. You got to make it a little bit exciting, right? So.
Definitely inspired me as well. I mean, listen, to our viewers who are watching right now, we're interviewing Dr. Sara Siddiqui. She's a doctor here on Long Island. She's a community member, really well known, alhamdulillah, and she's one of our heroes as well. She actually just received the Moderna vaccine just 3 days ago, and we're here talking about the Moderna vaccine and how the side effects she went through and how effective it is. Dr. Sara, question for you. I've been reading the report that they said that the vaccine is, I believe, 95% effective, right? What does that mean?
Okay, so basically what they did was when they first started studying the vaccine, so 2 vaccines are out now, FDA approved, the Pfizer vaccine and the Moderna vaccine. The Moderna vaccine was studied in, I believe, between 35 and 40,000 people for the 7 months leading up to, 7 to 9 months leading up to the approval. And what they found, they give half, what they do is they give half the people plain saline or placebo, so it's just salt water, and half the people they actually give the real vaccine to. So this is any vaccine trial, and it has to be in the phase of actual human trial. So prior to them approving it for human use, they do study it in outside sources. And I also want to just add that even though it looks like this vaccine was studied for a very short period of time, the technology and the actual vaccination, the mRNA vaccination, has actually, the technology has been around for many, many years, because they actually used the same technology to come up with a SARS and a MERS vaccine, which were the 2 original coronaviruses back in 2012. And they didn't actually need to get to the point of a vaccine because it was able to be controlled. Those outbreaks were able to be controlled. But they did have the technology back then. So they did start back then. And then when we heard about SARS-CoV-2, or the virus that causes COVID-19, that's when they kind of regenerated all that, and they started to try to you know, rush through or continue to study it. But they did have a lot of information already. So the 95% effective rate comes from how many people, the people that received the vaccine versus the people that didn't receive the vaccine. So the people that did not receive the vaccine, or the placebo, became infected, and the people that actually received the vaccine, only a few portion of those people became infected. So the fact that it was 95% efficacious is really high. Actually, for the FDA to approve it, they had suggested to the manufacturing companies that we need at least 50%, and they got much, much higher. So that really tells you that the virus is very susceptible to this specific way that you are building antibodies. If you would like, I can explain a little bit about that too.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what I was saying about the mRNA, that's the specific type of vaccination, and both Pfizer and Moderna are similar in that respect. There are a few other vaccines that are coming through that are a little bit different, but I specifically know about these 2. So the mRNA is called messenger RNA. So what that is a part is basically they're sending what we're giving to you, or what the vaccine is giving to you is almost like, and I guess this is why the whole microchip kind of thing came about, but it's a program for your own ribosome, which is a part of your cell structure, to build the protein of the spike protein. So when you see the pictures of the coronavirus, you see that round circle, and then you see all those like little spikes. And actually, those spike proteins are what you're building antibodies to. So you're not even getting the entire virus or a killed piece of virus or anything like that. You're just getting a map of the actual way to manufacture the protein. Your body manufactures just the spike protein, not even the full virus, so just the spike protein. So you'll have antibodies in case you get infected with the whole entire virus. Your body will already be able to fight off the virus just by blocking that protein from attaching to your cells. So the way coronavirus or SARS-CoV-2 virus works is those spike proteins attach onto your cells and can enter your cells through those really huge spike proteins. If you have antibodies against those spike proteins, they attach on and then they can't get into your cells. So you're stopping it right at that point. And so the mRNA is not actually the protein at all. It's just a recipe to make, so your own body can make the protein, and then your own body makes your antibodies against that protein. So it's an amazing feat of science. When you really read about it, it's just mind-boggling that it's such a simple technique, and it was thought up in a matter of days how they came up with the concept, and it's a reality now. So it just amazes me as to how much of a minimal, like, infectious part that you get into your body.
It's crazy to see how such a small little thing that, just creating spike proteins for our body can save so many lives.
Yes, so you're basically getting like the key. You're essentially getting the key. Your body's being given the key in advance and preventing that protein from infecting you by fighting it off before it even gets into your body. So it's kind of giving you an advance notice.
That's amazing to see how science has progressed so far, and how something so small can save so many lives that's yet to come. Let's say I'm a person, I get the vaccine, right? And I have somebody who doesn't want to get the vaccine, right? They're like, hey, you're vaccinated, I don't care, I'll be fine, right? Am I still safe?
So that's a great question. Whenever you have a vaccine.
The question, I know, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. That's a really good question. And the issue, it's multi-step. So there's something called herd immunity. And what we mean by that is to protect everybody, you need a certain portion of the population to be vaccinated, because there are some people that may not build the immune response that they're supposed to build, right? So this happens to other vaccines that we already see. For example, the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine. That vaccination, in order for it to really be protective in a full community, and you're protecting even the people that may not have built their full response, you need to have a 98% vaccination rate. Once you see a drop in that, you start seeing measles cases, and that's exactly what we saw in 2019 in New York State. So what they've determined so far by the studies is that for the COVID-19 vaccine to be fully effective and provide herd immunity, so let's say you got vaccinated, but you didn't build as strong a vaccine response or an immune response, in order for you to still be as protected, we need to see 75 to 80% of individuals be vaccinated. So of course, it's not as high as the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine that we already know that you need 98%, but at least 75 to 80%. And yes, you will be protected. Can you check your own protectivity, or can you check your own immunity? Yes, you can go and get your antibodies drawn and things like that, but we still are at the phase where we do know that with Moderna and Pfizer vaccinations, they're 7 or 8 months out, and those patients do have antibodies 7 or 8 months out. So as time goes on, we'll know more about how long the immunity has been lasting for those patients as well.
How does it feel to be one of those who got the vaccine first?
I mean, like I said before, I don't want, I feel that I feel very lucky that I was offered the vaccine, but I also feel that I'm kind of a test subject, right? Like it wasn't given out to a lot of people. It was given out to almost 80,000, and we do have data for that. But obviously, if we have the more and more safety data that we have, more and more people will be confident in getting the vaccine. So I felt, lucky and honored that, I was able to get it through my job. But I do feel that sometimes, that I think more and more people have to see that, and then they will gain confidence, and hopefully we will get to the, 75, 80% of people getting it.
I will be first in line because my doctors got it. Dr. Sara is my doctor. Dr. Ahmad is my doctor. They both got it. One got Pfizer, one got Moderna. I'm first in line for either or. A conversation that's actually been running through in my household right now, right, is my wife. I said, listen, I keep saying this, I'm first in line, I'm first in line. My wife goes, well, if you get the vaccine, you're going to have to quarantine at the apartment for 2 weeks. And I'm like, why?
No, actually, no, you don't have to quarantine at all. You're not being good. So you're not being given the actual virus at all.
I can stay home.
I'm sorry?
So I can stay home.
You can stay home. You don't have to quarantine, and you can eat dinner with your family. Don't worry. You can't transmit by getting the vaccination, you're not getting any type of live virus, or you're not getting the actual virus. You're not making viral load. So you're not at risk for friends and family. You do want to, however, when you do get vaccinated, you do still want to wear a mask, stay distanced, wash your hands, avoid crowds. So we all are still doing that. All my colleagues and myself and my family members, whenever we go out, we're still wearing our masks, and we're going to do that for the foreseeable future until we can kind of see the rates of hospitalizations and the rates of positivity and the rates of infection decrease. We all still must do that, even though the vaccine is coming out. Yes.
This is not going anywhere.
No, it's not.
That's an item for the next 2 or 3 years.
Absolutely. And I got to say, in the medical community, we probably will be wearing our masks for quite a bit of time, even after, because we do see how effective masks are, right? I mean, we are seeing less, we're not seeing as much of the infections that we usually see in school children. And one of the reasons is that in schools, we're seeing that the transmission is very low. They're washing their hands, they're wearing their masks, and they're staying distant.
It's kind of crazy to see because, like, I have asthma, right? So, every time when the season hits, it gets cold, right? Or when I'm going out, asthma flares up, or I'm getting sick, or I get the flu, or I'm coughing. Ever since I've been wearing my mask, I've gotten sick less and less and less. And I'm like, wow, that was really the trick? All these years, I just had to do this. I would have never been that sick.
Right. Yes. I mean, really, we're seeing that in our office too. A lot of the children that usually come in, we have to give nebulizers. We're giving, the inhalers and the steroids. A lot of that has decreased. We're still seeing some of it, but a lot of that has dropped. And, the masking and hand washing, staying distance is helping. But of course, we don't want to stay distanced forever. We do want to see our family. We do want to see, we want to get back to normal as far as those things. We want to see our parents. We want to see our grandparents. So all those things, we do want to get back to normal, actually. So I can't wait.
Silly question, right? Because we have to, lighten it up a little bit. What was the first thing you did after you got the vaccine?
No, I mean, the vaccine, yeah, I flexed. But, it's not really, so we have to get a second dose. So the second dose, so that's the difference between Moderna and Pfizer.
Hold on. What? Wait, what?
Yes. So you're not fully protected yet after the first dose, and it does take time. So there's one dose that's given at day 0, let's say. So the Moderna vaccine you have to get 28 days later. The Pfizer vaccine you have to get 21 days later. So the Moderna vaccine I have scheduled now for the 4 weeks from when I got the first dose. And then even then you get your second dose, and then 2 weeks later is when, you're considered the maximum immunity. So hopefully I'll try to get my blood checked and see where we're at that point. But still, you're not ready, even at that point, to go out and be without a mask and just run around and hug everybody. No, we still want to wear our mask and stay protected, and, stay the course. Stay the course,
definitely. And to all of our viewers who are watching this right now, listen, Dr. Sara Siddiqui is a doctor in our community, and she's a doctor who actually got the vaccine. And she's encouraging that once the vaccine becomes available to the general public, that we should all take the vaccine. We should all make an effort to go and get it. Listen, I've been saying this since day one. Once the vaccine comes out, I'm first in line. Dr. Sara Siddiqui was actually first in line. So inshallah, when it becomes available to the general public, I will be first in line. You guys have Shakil and Company American Islamic Radio. Dr. Sara, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for giving us the time. And inshallah, once the vaccine becomes, more available to the public, we would love to have you back because, people can have questions and whatnot, so you can answer all these kind of questions that they have. And if you guys have any questions right now that you guys want to know about, please, definitely reach out to us and we'll ask Dr. Siddiqui for you guys. You guys have been tuning to Shakil and Company on American Islamic Radio. I'm your host, Kevin Shakil, wishing you all a very happy Saturday. Assalamu alaikum.